Hi guys, it's Hayley from Low Carb Central. I'm going to be showing you how to make the LC multigrain bread mix today. I've had quite a few people ask me why my loaves look quite a lot like commercial loaves. I think it's got a lot to do with the process that I use as well as the environment that I rise my bread in. So what I've got in here is I've got my mix. I'm going to add in my salt, my LC sweet white. Now I do use the LC sweet white just because I have it on hand, but as long as you're using a sweetener that doesn't have any sugar alcohols in it, you're fine. Your yeast. Now the yeast that I use is the Lowen's instant dried yeast. So you just want to use an instant yeast, so one that you don't have to bother proofing. And then with the butter, I add the amount of butter that it says on the packet, but I also use butter in place of shortening, just because I find it makes it a little bit easier, because I don't usually have shortening on hand. And then with the water, I've got a quarter of a cup more than I actually need here, just because I'm going to add it in and see how my bread is or how my dough is as I'm kneading it. I'll just give that a mix around. I always get it started with my wooden spoon. And then you obviously want to get into it with your hands. So I just knead mine in the bowl so that I don't have to worry about messing up my bench. It's less mess to clean up. So you want to use a nice big bowl if you're going to do that though. Add a little bit more of that water that I said I had. You'll notice that as you go, your dough starts to become quite a bit drier. Once you've been kneading your dough for a couple of minutes, what you want to do is just check how your gluten's going. So you can see mine at the moment, it just kind of tears apart. So that's nowhere near ready yet. I'll show you the point you want to get it to. You certainly don't want to over knead it. That's feeling about right now. So what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to try and put your finger through, and you want it to form a film over your finger. So of course if you do it too far it will tear, but you just want it to start to form a film, just like that, instead of it tearing straight away. So that's as much as I'm going to need that. So that's only been a couple of minutes. I'm going to shape that into the shape that I want. And then pop it into my pan. There we go. So I'm going to pop that into rise. Now I actually rise mine in my sauna only because it's nice and easy. What I used to do is I had a mat similar to the reptile mats that you can get for warming reptile tanks. I bought it for about $10 on eBay, and I used to sit that in underneath, set a temperature gauge to 30 degrees and just put it in underneath a plastic bucket. It does a really good job of rising your bread. Okay, my bread's been rising for about an hour now. You can see it's risen up quite high really nicely. So I'm going to pop that into the oven now, and that'll take about 32 minutes in the oven. Okay, bread's all out of the oven and I left it sitting for 15 minutes so that it can cool down a bit. So there we go. There's our loaf of bread, and I'll cut it for you so that you can see what the inside's like. There we go, so that you can see that the bubbles are evenly spread around the entire loaf. If you knead it too much, you'll find that the bottom of your loaf is a bit too dense, and then the top of your loaf has got quite a bit more air bubbles in it. I'll get about 15 to 17 slices out of that, and I freeze it and it comes up perfectly.